What's going on YouTube? It's Ben from Akrumi coming back to you again today with another 5-minute video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a topic that you all seem to really enjoy. We're going to talk about wholesale versus private label. So the wholesale model of selling on Amazon versus private label, building your own brand and selling that on Amazon. Really quickly, for those of you that don't know, my name is Ben. I'm one of the co-founders of Akrumi, and Akrumi is the leading business-friendly funding solution for Amazon sellers like you. So when I think of the private label model versus the wholesale model, first of all, we invest in both at Akrumi, and the sellers using both of those models can make a lot of money. I've seen it with my own eyes and I've done it myself. So they're both good models. So there's no right way or wrong way to make money on Amazon. There's just the right way and the wrong way based on what your personal situation is and what you're looking for. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about the pros and cons of each model. So first, let's take a look at wholesale. The Wholesale FBA model, which is basically buying name brand products in bulk from suppliers, name brand suppliers, usually in the USA, and then sending those pallets of products into Amazon FBA and selling them one at a time as a prime seller on the buy box. That is what Wholesale FBA is. Now, the pros of Wholesale FBA is you can get started with not a lot of money, usually less than $1,000 or around $1,000 to get started. And that's because all you need that money really for is to buy inventory. So that's one of the big pros, is it's relatively inexpensive. The second good thing about Wholesale FBA is there's a lot less risk. You're buying products that were already designed and tested and are being marketed by some of the biggest companies in the world, and you're basically just reselling them on Amazon. So you have a lot of data available to you to make a buying decision, and you're usually only buying 1 month to maybe 3 months worth of inventory. So when you do buy that inventory, it's gonna sell pretty quickly. It's not likely that you're gonna get stuck with a bunch of stuff that people don't want if you did your research properly. So cheaper to start, and less risk with wholesale, and then also more consistent returns. So with wholesale, you're gonna be turning inventory all the time. You're gonna be buying inventory, sending it to FBA, selling it, buying inventory, selling it, sending it to FBA, et cetera, in a loop. And what happens with that is you basically have a steady stream of income once you hit a certain size and a certain diversity in your products that you don't always have with private label. So you're gonna make, and if you see my other video, you're gonna make about the same return on your money with wholesale as you are with private label. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link somewhere around here where you can go and watch that video where I compare the return on investment for each business model, but you're gonna make about the same return on a monthly basis with wholesale as you will with private label. The difference is that with wholesale, it's gonna be hard to exit and sell your business. There aren't going to be a lot of people out there that want to acquire your business, and if they do, it's going to be at a much lower price than if you were doing private label. And the reason for that's really simple. There's really nothing proprietary about what you are doing as a wholesale FBA seller. There's nothing that you're doing that somebody else that doesn't want to put in the work can do that somebody's going to value and pay you for. Now, the one exception to that is maybe if you have an exclusive distribution agreement with some brands or an exclusive supplier relationship that would be very hard for someone else to get, then there's going to be some value in that somebody might want to buy from you. Also, if your business is very systemized, where you have employees and other team members doing a lot of the work, that would also have some value. But if you're basically just selling the day-to-day that you're doing now to make more money with your money, to try to sell it to someone else, there's not going to be a lot of value in that because it's something that pretty much anyone can do and there's nothing proprietary. It all just has to do with how much work you're willing to put into it. Now, with private label, that's really the big difference, is that you can make a lot more money on a sale because you're building a brand. You might have trademarks or patents with whatever it is that you're building, and there's more of a moat around what you're doing, that once you build that brand, it's a lot harder for somebody else to come in and copy it and do exactly what you're doing, and that's really what someone acquiring your business is paying for. So with that transition, let's talk about the pros and cons of private label. So the first pro with private label is you're going to be building a brand that has value and you can eventually sell for millions of dollars to someone like those Amazon aggregators out there. The second pro of private label is everything that you're building, you have a lot more control over what you're doing. So you control the supply chain, you can control to an extent the pricing, You're never gonna have a supplier say, I don't want to sell to you anymore, because at the end of the day, you're making the product, and if your manufacturer doesn't want to sell to you anymore, you can just go and find a new manufacturer. So you have a lot more control, and it's not like your supply chain is in the hands of someone else, which is a benefit of FBA wholesale, that a lot of the suppliers are doing all of the work for you to basically get your product manufactured, marketed, tested here in the US. But at the end of the day, if that supplier says, I don't want to sell to you anymore, then there goes your product line. Versus if it's a brand that you own and that you've made yourself, it's a lot harder for that to just disappear. Now, the cons or the challenges with private label, right? The good parts are you can make a lot of money on a sale, and you have a lot more control and reliability in your supply chain, or at least personal control in your supply chain. The cons or the bad parts about private label are, one, it's gonna cost you a lot more money to get started. Most people, I actually just started a private label brand with a friend of mine, and we spent probably all in on consulting, help, and inventory and importing. We probably spent close to $30,000 or $40,000 on launching this single product. Probably gonna end up spending around $50,000 to launch the product. So that's a big difference from FBA wholesale, where you can get started with $1,000, and in some cases even less. Private label, you're looking at least $10,000, but more realistically closer to $50,000 to get started and launch one single product. Now, the other challenge is, even if you spend that $50,000, there's no guarantee that you're gonna sell the product. And in a lot of cases, a lot of private label sellers watching probably know this, you might end up with a garage full of products that nobody wants to buy and that you can't sell without dumping even more money into marketing and kind of having that endless loop of spending more money just to try to get your money back. So those are really the two big cons with private label, or the challenges with private label. A lot more money to start and a lot riskier, but at the end of the day, there's a chance that you can build a brand that you can sell for millions of dollars. So if I missed anything, let me know down in the comments what you think. Which one's better? What are the risks, and what are the risk-reward balances with each? But that's really it. So hope you found this video helpful. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button down below and turn on notifications so that you're notified when I post a new video. If you are a private label seller, a wholesale seller, even retail arbitrage or book arbitrage, and you're looking for money to grow your business, there will also be a link down below in the description. You can click and you can complete our very short funding questionnaire, where you give us answers to a few basic questions, and we will instantly tell you about how much money we can invest in your business. If you think that amount of capital would be helpful to you, then you can take things to the next step with us and get $10,000 to $1 million in funding for your Amazon FBA business in as little as 3 business days. So thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next 5-minute video.